Hello and welcome once again. Wednesday night, we are back again. Of course, the war. And what am I kicking off this week again? Back with AEW. And where are we tonight? Philadelphia. So a lot of things going to be on the show tonight. Number one, since it's Philly, there are going to be two title matches tonight. Both the AEW World Championship and the Women's Championship. Also, the tag tournament continues. And what do we do to kick this right off the bat? We start off with the tag team tournament again. Of course, JR Excalibur and Tony Schiavone welcomed everyone to AEW Dynamite tonight. And we kicked off with SCU coming out. But as Daniels and Kazarian came out, the Lucha Brothers attacked them from behind. They started kicking the crap out of them. Pentagon gave them the pretty much the package pile driver on the ramp, pretty much taking out Christopher Daniels. Scorpio Sky had made the save, pretty much to, knock off the Lucha Brothers to get them out of there. But since Christopher Daniels was lowered on the stretcher and everything, Scorpio Sky, who was still in street clothes and everything, saying, I'll do the match, I'll do it. Pretty much they allowed it. SCU then went against the Best Friends then, Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, which, this was a good tag match to kick off the show, I will say that. In a way, I'm sure a lot of people are going to say this was a spotlight in a way for Scorpio Sky, because he was really over in this entire match. The people were with him. One thing that was noticeable, he lost his shoe, but they ended up throwing the shoe back during the match. Scorpio Sky is good. I've said it before about him in SCU. He could be a breakout star and could be a big name in his company and maybe someday towards the AEW World Championship. Don't get me wrong, the SCU thing is fun, but if it ever does happen, he can become a breakout star. I do believe that. But this was a fun match to watch. I didn't really think the best friends were gonna win this. I like Beretta and Chuck Taylor, but their gimmick is very weird to me sometimes with the hugging and stuff. Doesn't make a lot of sense because they were trying to get the hug anyways, which they eventually did. I did kind of like they did that, not Doomsday Device, but like a suplex, Taylor holding up Kazarian on the, pretty much for an electric chair. And, no, he held Beretta up and they pretty much did a suplex on Kazarian. A superplex on him from the top rope. That was pretty cool though. But, other than Sky pretty much hitting multiple suicide dives out of the ring and stuff, Trent was going to go for the power driver, but on Kazarian, Sky saved them. Pretty much knocking Chuck Taylor to the outside of the ring. This was the bad part of the finish because Kazarian pretty much hit a back body drop on Trent. But the finish, though, this is where it was very botched. Kazarian pretty much went for a power bomb on Beretta, and the timing was off. I think Scorpio... Well, it looked like Scorpio Sky, they said it was a drop kick. And maybe he was late for the drop kick of, Beretta coming down, it looked like. But I thought he was going for a backstabber when... it looked like it was going to be like a backstabber / power bomb. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me. A backstabber, power bomb type of thing going on. But that wasn't the case. But I guess it was a drop kick. It just really did look bad in the finish. I don't mind SCU winning. I think it was one of the most things. SCU is over, so I will say that. It is best to keep them in this tournament. I don't mind the Best Friends, but I didn't really think they were going to go this far in this tournament during this whole thing. But overall, this was still a very good match, though, between SCU and the Best Friends. Other than the botch finish, it was a good match. I will say that. Next, LAX, I'm still calling that for a reason. Santana and Ortiz went against Alex Reynolds and John Silver. I swear I've seen that John Silver guy around a couple times. Obviously, this was pretty much a showcase for Santana and Ortiz, or a squash match or whatnot. But since they went against two guys that nobody didn't really know, but pretty much as they celebrated, right after they pretty much had Chris Jericho was on the screen in, putting over LAX, talking about these guys are pit bulls. They dominate the competition. They're thugs out there. They run the streets. And, they'll kick your ass and take their wallet. I'm like me and my friend was speaking on. LAX can speak on for themselves. They don't really need Jericho to speak for them all the time. I know Jericho's putting these guys over and he's the leader of this whole inner circle thing. But it will be good to hear from both Santana and Ortiz. Jericho pretty much said that the challenge has been issued to Full Gear, that it's going to be the Young Bucks going against Santana Ortiz. They could have said this themselves, but they pretty much said that the Young Bucks are gonna get their asses kicked pretty much. One thing that Ortiz kept doing at the end, he said about 30 times, the best, the best, the best. It's like you can hear while Jericho's talking, you could just hear him in the background saying, the best, the best, the best, the best, the best, the best, almost like 30 times. So he just kept going on from that. One thing they played was a good video package that took some couple minutes, but it was pretty much a video package for Cody Rhodes. Pretty much he was at his home with Brandy, and it was just, he didn't really say anything throughout this whole promo. It was pretty much everyone putting him over in this promo, especially hyping up the title match against Chris Jericho when Full Gear happens. One thing you can notice, though, they had MJF in there, pretty much say, Cody's one of the best things of all time and stuff, him putting him over. Of course, that's to do with the whole story and everything between those two of him trying to be his friend right now. But this was a good video package. It did go on for a minute, I will say that. Not bad or any chance, but they had people from DDP, Brandy, his mom, Michelle Reynolds, like I said, MJF, Jim Ross, talk about Cody being his wrestler and the vice president here. Showed him training in the gym and stuff, and, talked about how, Dusty would be proud of him and everything. So it was pretty much a video package of everybody putting over Cody Rhodes without him actually even saying it himself. So it was a very nice video package. Next was Britt Baker versus Rio for the Women's Championship. This match, I got a lot to say about this. I think it was good, but it was you can see right off the bat when it was going sloppy, especially after that first arm drag Rio did on Britt Baker. It just looked like they just kind of rolled around for a second, which I didn't know what they were trying to do. Like they were trying to save it, but it just didn't work out well. It was a good match, and they tried out there, and the fans were into Rio and Baker, but I just did not think this was I didn't think it was that good of a match, to be honest, because the crowd was into it in the beginning. They chanted for Rio a lot, but it looked like they kind of started to fall off. Like I said, they had some sloppy spots out there, and obviously, I've said it before, they got to work on the women's division. I will say that's one of the weakest things in this company is that they need to work on the women's division. Like, they got some good ones, but obviously, looking at this match, they got a lot to work with because there was, like I said, this match was either botchy at some points or just sloppy a couple times, too. Especially the beginning part was very sloppy. I did like the finish, though, when Baker pretty much had, she had the lockjaw on Rio, but Rio pretty much rolled her up to get the pin. So, it did get better down the line, and the crowd was into it. So they did pop when Rio did win the retain the championship. They pretty much had a handshake after that. So it was pretty good for what it was. What I thought. But sorry, as I was saying, I had to check a message there. But like I said, they shook hands, so it was pretty good after that. But Rio still retained the championship from there. I don't know when her next title defense will be, so it's probably gonna be at Full Gear. Now, the next thing I'm gonna speak on during this tag tournament. First of all, in the beginning, like I said at the beginning of this review, I like the tag tournament. I think it's one of the best things that's going on in AEW right now. But unfortunately, I was not a big fan of this next match coming up. First of all, it was supposed to be the Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Brothers. But unfortunately, Luchasaurus got hurt. To what I have heard, it was a hamstring, I believe. And they say he got hurt today. So he could not do this match. What do? They put Marco Stunt in. And this is where the suspension of belief comes in. And I was not really a fan of this. I'm surprised this match went over 10 minutes. Let me say that too, okay? Don't get me wrong, they tried to make this as competitive as possible, but I am not going to buy into Marco Stunt taking on Pentagon and Phoenix. I'm like other people on the internet. It looked like Pentagon and Phoenix was stealing this kid's lunch money. It looked like bullying at one point. Okay, I've said it before, man. Marco Stunt. I cannot take this seriously. I like Jungle Boy and everything, but when they kind of had that going on, I shitted on it. I'm sorry. I'm just not with this whole thing. And what Pentagon and Phoenix are kicking the crap out of this guy throughout half the freaking match. Just kicking him around, just kicking him. I feel like when they went after the first commercial break, that's when the match got competitive. Don't get me wrong, Marco Stunt could do a lot of crazy flips out there. You know, they're using him as a human projectile. I know people want to compare him to Spike Dudley and everything, but I'm like others. Even Spike was a little bit better than him, because he's a human projectile. You just throw Marco Stunt around, he does a freaking DDT out of nowhere half the time. You just look at what Pentagon and Phoenix through Marco. He just did a DDT on one of them. Okay, that's what he did. But Jungle Boy, I don't mind. I think he's good in the ring. The guy was going in and out there. I will say that, freaking crazy with those moonsaults. But when Pentagon is just looking at him and Marco Stunt doing this and then doing his little Sierra Metyo thing, I just can't take this seriously. Okay, it was good down the stretch. Stunt hit a 450 and Jungle Boy did a standing shooting star and stuff. But Pentagon and them got back in. Pretty much did a Canadian Destroyer. But yeah, hit him with Canadian Destroyer. Pretty much Pentagon then did his arm breaking, break his arm thing. How everyone he did in Lucha Underground where you just break someone's arm. And then him and Phoenix did the Spike package pile driver for the win. So, honestly, come on. You knew the Lucha Brothers was going to win this. I knew this right off the bat. I just said the Lucha Brothers are facing Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy. This is going to be too easy. That's basically what I said. This is going to be way too easy for them for a match to win. Okay? So, who really was going to believe Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy were going to win this match? I asked you. Now, if this was Luchasaurus, okay, I could debate you on that, especially against the Lucha Brothers. But, come on, I'm not going to sit here and believe Marco Stunt is going to beat them, okay? I'm sorry, I'm just not going with that. That's why I just kind of crapped over the match. I'm like everybody else, look like a... Come on, people think Marco Stunt looks like, what, a 12-year-old kid out there at the time, and I'm sick of that backpack dance they do in Fortnite all the time, where they got that from. So, I don't know, man. I just could not take that seriously. But it did get better after the commercial, so I will say that. But come on, Lucha Brothers were gonna win that match regardless. Like, come on, you didn't even have to watch this match. You knew it was gonna win. I'm surprised it ended in 5 minutes. I'm really surprised this match did not end in under 5 minutes. But moving on, though. Pac and Moxley going against Omega and Hangman. I'm not going to get into the whole reason why Moxley could not compete in New Japan's King of Pro Wrestling this week. I will do a review for that show from Monday, because it actually was a really good show. It did suck that they did strip the belt off of him in New Japan. Dude, it was a storm. It was a bad typhoon over there, and him and Zack Sabre Jr. could not make it. But I'm going to get more into detail over that. I don't know if it will be a rematch for him and Juice for that U.S. title, but when you see my review for King of Pro Wrestling, you'll know why. So, because I'm sure a lot of people wondering, why Moxley could not make it over there to NJPW earlier in the week. Because that was going to be a big match for him and Juice, too. I was looking forward to it. But unfortunately, the storm pretty much blocked him off, and they took the belt away from him. But, he did do a promo, though, pretty much saying, people want to write me off because of one injury, that Omega must be confused because he's ready to fight. And he's going to take him down. He's going to be the top of the food chain AEW in full gear. He was going hunting. But I did enjoy this tag match. This was a very fun tag match to watch, to be honest, especially for a preview for it. Honestly, this was one of the best matches on the show. I will say that. It was great. I thought this was great. In a way, it was some call it a spot fest in some sort of way, possibly. But I did like it when it got towards the end, though, especially everybody starts going crazy with their spots and everything. Kenny's just going nuts out there. But one thing I did like was when pretty much Mox went to get his baseball bat with the barbed wire, and Kenny got the broom with the barbed wire. And then, because he's the cleaner, the referee pretty much looked for a second. Didn't want any part of this, so he got out of there. But Pac came in, threw the weapons out of the ring, like he cut his hand, by the way, if you look at it. Pretty much saying, like, we don't want a DQ, okay? We don't want a DQ. Focus on the match. But pretty much then after that, Moxley hit the Death Rider on Pac, leaving him in the ring. He left. Hangman comes out of nowhere with the buckshot lariat. Kenny Omega hits a V-trigger, and Hangman Page hits the Deadeye for the win. So, a good match. Very good match also. Excuse me. Very good match also. It's pretty much a preview for Full Gear, which they also announced for next week. It will be Pac versus Jon Moxley. So, I am looking forward to seeing that, though. But are both of these guys heel, if I'm not mistaken? Or is Mox a face? I don't know. So, one of the... I know Pac's a heel, but is like Mox a heel or is he a face? I kind of wonder that. But we did get to the main event of this show. Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship. What the... Sorry for a second. But yes, for the AEW World Championship, though, in a Philadelphia street fight. What do I have to say about this match? It was good, real good. Of course, this was going to be a street fight because it's Philly and everything. But what do I have to say from this? Number one, Darby Allin. I think he probably won some fans over tonight because the guy can go, all right? I give Darby Allin one thing, especially with that skateboard. He can go out there, okay? Pretty much, taking Jericho right off the bat. I'm trying to name most of the spots that was really noticeable throughout this entire match, especially with the kendo stick being in there. Jericho hitting Jericho hitting Darby Allin with the kendo stick several times. Allin pretty much able to get out of there, even pretty much putting him into an armbar in, but Jericho had him in the walls of Jericho. One thing that was very noticeable, this is a street fight, right? How is there a rope break in a street fight? Makes no sense, all right? Literally makes no sense. He did a rope break. There was a rope break in the street fight, which the crowd knew because they also started chanting, "It's a street fight. It's a street fight." So how is Darby Allin getting any type of rope break from this? Makes no sense, all right? But Jericho hit a code breaker in. Allin kicked out. Jericho pretty much started grabbing. She grabbed the chair. He hit Darby Allin with the back a couple times. He put it in the corner. Was gonna do a long dart, but Allin got out of it. Doing a stunner on him. Jericho pretty much put him back in the walls of Jericho, but he got some taped in. He pretty much taped Darby Allin's wrist behind his back, but Darby was up, pretty much kicking his way out of there. Almost like he did a Van Damme there while Jericho was holding up the chair. One thing that did look cool, and I think this was very cool, that this guy is actually doing this with his hands tied behind his back. Does a freaking crazy suicide dive, rolling one to the outside of the ring. Does a corkscrew like moonsault from the top rope onto Jericho, pretty much taking him down in, pretty much with a good near fall. But Jericho came back and clotheslined him. He powerbombed him, knocked him into the skateboard, by the way, throwing him down there. He did like a tiger power bomb onto the chair then. Darby Allin pretty much kicked him, while Jericho at the chair. His face was bleeding, by the way. But he climbed to the top rope. Jake Hager came from the top then, knocking Darby Allin off the top rope. Jericho put him in the walls of Jericho for the win, retaining the AEW Championship. Pretty much then the rest of the Inner Circle came out for a little bit of the bubbly to close out the show. So, honestly, I thought it was a good street fight over, though. Like I said, I think Darby Allin won some fans over. Did anybody really think Chris Jericho was going to lose this match to begin with? No, they chanted, "Thank you, Jericho," as soon as this match began, all right? So, who really thought Chris Jericho was really going to lose his title? No one, honestly. But I did like when Darby Allin just kind of moved around like crazy when he had his arms tied behind his back. I thought it looked cool, all right? I really thought it did. But Jericho and Allin did put on a very good match, very good street fight, which, come on, it's Philly, so you knew it was going to be a street fight regardless. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Overall, an enjoyable show. I will say for AEW, I did enjoy the street fight. I liked the women's match, but it was very sloppy through points and times and a bit botchy too. It got good towards the end, but that beginning part was very bad. The tag team tournament is still one of the biggest highlights of the night. I enjoy SCU and the Best Friends. I sort of like the Pentagon, Lucha Brothers go against the Jungle Express, but putting Marco Stunt in there just kind of gave it a big down for me. Okay, I couldn't take it seriously. I just could not take this shit seriously. It just made no sense to me, okay? I'm like everybody, it's like beating up a small child out there, right? It's like they beat up for his lunch money. So why should I really believe in Marco Stunt like this? It makes no sense. So that's probably one of the things I was just not a fan of throughout tonight. LAX doing a squash match, it was at whatever, and I did enjoy Hangman and Omega, the Elite themselves, versus Moxley and Pac, so that was a very good tag match also, which pretty much, is going to set up a Pac and Moxley next week, so I am looking forward to that. But overall, another very good show by AEW. I will say that they're really keeping a lot of consistency going, especially with the story or whatever matches is going on too. So we will see what happens next week. They literally got some matches set up anyway, so we'll find out. But this 2 hours, I felt like it just kind of went by, if you ask me, once we kind of got to the second hour of the show. But Philly was a good crowd out there. I enjoyed the show, so there you go from that. But other than that, I'm out of here. Comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about Dynamite tonight. I'm off to watch NXT. Follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890. And also, I will be back with a King of Pro Wrestling review of New Japan. Like I said earlier in the review, I'm going to go work on that probably after NXT also. So, yeah, a lot of things going on tonight on here. A lot of wrestling on Wednesdays, I tell you. A lot of wrestling on Wednesdays. But I'm out of here. I will see you guys later. Peace out.